So I have this watercolor journal, and I will try to post the link below to tell you where I got it. And this is from the lesson, the tester lesson for Kaleidoscope that I've created on painting in watercolor the flower on the other side. So I wanted to show you how I did the sketch of Georgia O'Keeffe in this journal. And I've chose to kind of do the same journal. I didn't use another paper. I just wanted to kind of use the same paper and also just kind of, keep the connection going. And I really love this journal. I think it might be Strathmore. I'm not sure. I mean, it's not probably the greatest watercolor paper, but it works for me for just this short lesson. And just you can see I'm doing just this really quick sketch, and I was gonna include it in this lesson that I was doing, but I already spent almost an hour on the lesson, so I couldn't fit it in. So I'm just adding it in here, and I kind of apologize for the sort of jitteriness of the video, but I had to speed it up just to move it along, not to make it too long, and it even increases more the shakiness of the video, so I don't have the greatest setup. And I just wanted to, show you how I did this, how I usually sketch and prepare. I normally don't spend too much time on preparation of sketches or making them too detailed, because I use pretty much all my sketches for painting or, the watercolor. And so they never really end up being sketches on their own unless I really like them. I just want to work on them a little bit more. And, I want to preserve the pencil drawing of it. And the reason for sketching also is not just get the lines and positions right, but also mostly to figure out where the shadows are going to be. So if you're doing a watercolor, I'm not sure, because I'm not really a watercolorist. I wouldn't put too much shading in, obviously, but maybe get where the shade is going to be with like a thicker line, because you're going to put watercolor over it and you don't want a gray undertone under the watercolor, whatever you're going to be using. But I'm going to be using the watercolor from Prisma or Prima, I think it's called, and they cover pretty well. They actually are almost a gouache, I think. I don't think they're just watercolors. They have a lot of fillers in it, so they almost work as acrylics, but you can still activate them with water to keep them moving. But because I am using actual sketch for the collage that I'm going to be working with this drawing that I'm going to be using for the collage, this drawing is going to stay black and white, so I'm not going to be actually putting color over it. So I'm actually adding the shading in this. And I want it to be two-toned. I don't want it to be just a line drawing. I want her to have the expression pretty well laid out. So I want her face to be expressive. And one thing I always find Georgia to be almost sad in these paintings, and I think in her photographs, I think her partner, or I think they were actually married, her husband took a lot of photographs of her. I think he was a photographer, and they are very emotional photographs, but they have always a little bit of sadness in them. Obviously, they're not like magazine photographs, like model photographs. They are supposed to use a lot of, or have a feeling of a lot of emotion in them. And it just, I think it just shows a lot of meaning of their connection between each other. And even though Georgia was quite independent, and she still traveled on her own quite a bit, and I really don't know much about her to qualify to say too much about her or her story. I admired her quite a bit because in her video, and I would definitely recommend watching her videos. There's quite a bit of them on YouTube. She seemed like a very, very, very warm and gentle person with quite a bit of humor. But she was very strong. I don't think she wanted to show that much, that quality of vulnerability. But the photographs definitely show probably her vulnerability for the most part, and how private she was, and still didn't really wanted to express too much, and chose to really express it in her art, in her paintings. So I'm going to be adding this drawing. I'm going to cut her out when she's done. I'm going to actually, you could probably, if you use regular paper, and even any kind of paper, like any thin paper for this sketch, if you are doing the collage from the Kaleidoscope Dreams or Kaleidoscope Lesson from Willowing, if you were to use her, you can just cut her completely out and add her to the page with the large flower. And I'm not going to be adding the collage right away because it's still not finished, and I'm going to be working on it. I wanted to still give her a tribute through that collage and make it kind of look like her, not necessarily as her creation, but kind of celebrate how she created, her values of simplicity and beauty. And I don't want it to just make it any kind of collage that maybe I would do, but get kind of inspired by her work. And so I'm still trying to work out how I'm going to do this. And so I would like to take my time. I don't want to just rush this. And just like I try not to rush this drawing, I wanted to give her a likeness, even though I don't want to be so stiff, so hard as to force what am I doing, how am I drawing her. I still want to just get more of that feeling. Maybe what she was thinking about, what was going through her mind when she was standing there in front of the flower. And then I'm posting the photograph here so you can get an idea, how she was posing in front of her paintings. And I wonder what gave her the idea to do that, maybe showing the connection she had with her art, or with the nature. She just still wanted to be like really connected through that nature, through her paintings and with her paintings. And then I'm going to add a quote to the collage, which I actually really love. And it might seem like this quote is too self-absorbing, in her saying that. But this is a quote that she said when she was teaching. She was actually doing a lot of teachings in a college, and then also she would travel to places where she would teach group of people, just like nowadays when we travel and teach all over the place, our skills that we've picked up or learned on the way. And And, you know, and she said that her life is going to be quite different than normal. You know, she chose this. It's not easy to devote yourself or your life completely to art. It's, you know, it's very absorbing because we really, when we paint, we speak from our soul. We put our soul on the paper, and can take hours and hours to really find our voice, what we're trying to say, because we're constantly bombarded with so many other cues from the outside world. And it's, you know, it's not easy to stay focused and connected. And as she did, she had to move to a desert to really stay in that place of complete devotion. So, you know, she chose that. She mentally decided that's, you know, what I'm going to do. I'm not going to be distracted by this outside world to tell me what to do. I want to do this, you know, my own way. And I fully dedicate myself to this. And I so completely understand that, how we can be easily distracted from our way of creating and be pulled in so many ways, even with other artists. You know, when we go on Instagram, and there are just so many beautiful creations. And as an artist, you want to do your best. You want to find your best voice. And it's sometimes so hard to do that. You know, and especially me being Gemini, I totally recognize that I do this quite often. I just, you know, see something and I want to create that and recreate it for myself. But staying true to your voice, that's really, I think, what we need to do as an artist, because we all have our own way, our own beautiful way of creating. And we need to show that. We need other people to see that we can stay in that voice of ours and create beauty that way.